With a slew of new game trailers releasing off the back of PlayStation's State of Play and Nintendo Direct, you have to think that some of these games will see a massive downgrade from their initial trailer to what officially launches to the public. YouTube, what's good? XhiaGaming here, bringing you a brand new episode of Top 5. In this video, we're going through the worst video game downgrades from trailer to release. Starting us off at number 5, Watch Dogs. Often seen as the poster child for graphical downgrades, it deserves to be the first mention on this list. And given that it's Ubisoft and they tend to have a track record in this domain. Watch Dogs was one of the first games to be revealed to run on the PS4 and Xbox One, and exhibited Aiden Pierce walking down the streets of Chicago with mesmerizing clothing effects, wind, and lighting, focus mode slowdown akin to the Matrix, and some very lifelike NPCs. Although the game that was released featured far less impressive features for all the aforementioned effects and gained a label of a downgrade. Without seeing the trailer, Watch Dogs was an okay game that was heavily criticized for its bland protagonist and unexciting world, but in 2013 it looked pretty damn good. Coming in at number 4 is Anthem. To think that a title like Mass Effect played second fiddle to Anthem is hard to fathom, given the fact that the latter somehow turned out to be a worse game. Anthem has had its fair share of hate for a slew of reasons. Long animated loading screens, a dull Fort Tarsus with lifeless NPCs, no active mechs, downsized landscapes, and no underwater areas worth talking about. And whilst it did have a graphical downgrade, that's not its worst part. What we got was a shallow experience that did nothing for BioWare's dwindling reputation, marred with boring gameplay, uninteresting visuals, and a host of technical issues. Coming in at the halfway point with number 3 is The Division. Surprise, surprise, Ubisoft makes another appearance on this list. I told you they had a track record for this. And it's not the only Tom Clancy game to be downgraded from its initial trailer. Back in 2013, when the trailer launched, it borderline blew minds with the features it displayed. The reveal highlighted a snowy, desolate New York City with a crazy menu system, reactive holes in cop cars, gorgeous lighting effects, and the agent using a wristwatch as his menu. The Division launched 3 years after that initial trailer and was missing several features, much of the dynamic lighting, and featured a much less detailed New York. Without a doubt, one of Ubisoft's worst downgrades so far. Coming in at number 2 is Aliens Colonial Marines. In what was arguably the first misstep in a drawn-out downfall of Gearbox Software. Yes, that Gearbox Software, aka the Borderlands developer. To its credit, this game has been passed around between developers between 2007 and 2013, so it doesn't solely fall on their shoulders, but they are the ones with their names attached to the game to it and were sued for false advertising. Upon release, the game looked more funny and buggy than it was scary, with dozens of examples of poor lighting, awful AI, missing features, untextured environments, and laughable character models. The funniest thing about Colonial Marines, however, is that all of the broken AI was down to one spelling error in the code. That wouldn't have saved the game or made up for the misleading graphics, but it sure makes for one great anecdote. And coming in at number 1 is No Man's Sky. Whilst this game has done a full 180 today and turned the ship around on what seemed like a lost cause, No Man's Sky deservedly copped a lot of flack for their initial release that had made gargantuan promises in the trailers. Infamously promising a universe of infinite planets, diverse geography, flora, fauna, and everything in between, including a giant dinosaur and rhino rampaging and knocking down trees. The player then hopped in their jet, shot off into space, and engaged in a dogfight with other ships before chasing them down onto a new planet and blasting them into pieces. In case you're unaware, the game that was released 2 years later was pretty much nothing like that. Sure, there were planets with fauna and dinosaurs, but the planets were far less alive. You couldn't engage in random faction wars in space, you couldn't continue that fight on a new planet, etc, etc. The promise of infinite planets became meaningless because those planets were essentially palette swaps of one another. There was no reason to explore, and that was kind of the point. But in 2022, the game is well worth a pickup as the team have worked tirelessly to gain back the trust from consumers. This game and its concept is sounding awfully familiar to one Todd Howard and the people over at Bethesda with Starfield. Let's hope they don't fall into the same trap and end up on this list sometime later. If you did enjoy this video, please be sure to not leave without leaving a like, comment, and subscribing, as it really does help the channel grow. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later. Tap the bell icon after subscribing and you'll never miss a video again. And consider checking out my Facebook page as well for daily gaming updates and news. Thanks guys.
I guess, I'm afraid.
There is nothing to be afraid of, Mr. Morgan.